He doesn't talk trash. He doesn't complain. He just puts his head down and he does what he has to do. And the team always comes first. And he does it at the highest level. Valverde is not a right back. He's not a defender. He's a central midfielder. Do we care about players? Do we care about the health and safety of players? As the captain of the team, he wants to represent the whole nation against their biggest rivals, United States, with all the political stuff happening right now. Jump up and down consistently for them to be motivated. If that's what it takes for them to be motivated to play against the United States in the Concacaf, then there's a bigger issue. Hello everybody, welcome to today's episode of Let's Talk Footy. My name is Shaheen and I'm here to talk about some stuff that I've come across recently. One of them is going to be something controversial that's been happening, and that is players being overworked, players not getting enough rest, playing many games for their clubs, and then going and playing in the international break for their national teams. And we have had many managers and many players come out and complain about this. Not really complain, but voice their concerns and trying to, get ahead of it, even though I personally believe that it's already late and it is too much. It's too much on the players. It's too much even on the managers. And for us fans to watch and to enjoy high quality matches, players need to be on top form, top shape. And in order to do that, they need enough time to recover and rest and be able to train at a good rate, at good intensity. Therefore, they can play at a good rate and good intensity. And that has simply not been the case, especially with bigger clubs that have a lot of international players that are competing in multiple competitions, like the Champions Leagues, like the Europa Leagues, like the cup games, league games, and then going and playing super cups, playing club world cups that's coming up this summer. Players are playing somewhere around 70 to 80 matches per season now, and this is crazy. It's insane to expect the same quality of play that we had maybe 5, 6, 7 years ago nowadays, just simply because players are not as fresh. Players are playing too many games. They're coming out and they're voicing their concerns. Most recently, Koundé from Barcelona came out and said that they're not machines and they need to get enough rest so that they can be ready for their next games. And he's not the first one, and he's not going to be the last one. I remember a couple of years ago, this is when Gareth Bale was still at Real Madrid, and he came out saying something that was a little bit controversial, which was the game had become robotic for him, and he was saying something like, people tell us when to eat, when to sleep, what to eat, how to train. Obviously, if you're a professional player playing at the best club in the world, that is Real Madrid, obviously, and you're getting millions of dollars and there's so much at stake, and it's not just about you. There's going to be professionals like nutritionists, like physios, doctors, coaches, managers telling you how you need to behave as a professional athlete. So that's part of it. I don't want to take anything away from that, not take anything away from being a professional, but he was kind of hinting at, it is a bit too robotic. He feels like he's a robot, he's a machine. And recently Koundé has come out and said the same thing, kind of saying, they're not machines, they're human beings. It's hard on them, it's hard on their bodies. They're not getting enough rest and enough recovery time. And he was actually this past weekend, even though he had just played for France in the international break, he played, I think, 2 full games for France, if I'm not wrong, or at least 1.5 games. And then he came back, and for Barcelona, they just had a makeup game against Osasuna midweek, and he was the only player that didn't get the rest, and he had to play. And it's not easy, and they have another midweek game that's very, very important against Atletico Madrid. It's a cup game this coming Wednesday. So it's obviously tough on the players. There's managers like Guardiola, Carlo Ancelotti, big name managers have come out and complained about this. And this makes us ask the question, why is it? Why are players playing so many games? Why are players playing so many competitions? Big aspect of it is business. It's just for money. The fact that Real Madrid, Barcelona, Atletico Madrid have to go all the way to Saudi Arabia to play Super Cup, Spanish Super Cup there. Obviously, it's because of revenue and money that's coming in from those countries and fan bases, but also, different competitions, more tickets to sell, more fans from across the world coming, tuning in, watching, buying tickets, and therefore more money the clubs are making, therefore more money the players are making. So players, as much as they're voicing their concerns, they kind of like when they get these big salaries, big contracts, and with that is going to come big demands, high demands, and a lot of games. So there's a balance here. Bigger clubs, bigger organizations, UEFA, FIFA, they need to step in and they need to see, okay, do we care about players? Do we care about the health and safety of players? Do we care about players not consistently tearing ACLs and getting injured and being out for a season or two, even in some of the cases? Like Militao tore his ACL, came back, played half a game or something, and then he tore his other ACL. These are because muscles and ligaments and bodies are being overworked. One of the reasons, at least. So it's a problem. It's obviously something very serious, and it has to be looked at. It has to be addressed, and hopefully, I, as a fan, want to see top football, but I also care about players. These are human beings. These are kids. These players are 19, 20, 21, 24, 25, and they shouldn't be tearing ACLs, and they shouldn't be overworked, and they shouldn't be complaining about intensity. They should be excited to play. They should be on top form. They should be performing week in, week out, and slowly that's becoming a problem. Now, me being in Canada and being a Canadian soccer fan, also football fan, or let's say I still don't know in Canada whether I want to call it football because it's football, but I'm in Canada and Canada and US call it soccer, so this is an issue. I don't know. Anyways, me being a football fan in Canada and trying to support and follow Canadian football, Canadian soccer, there was something controversial that just happened in the Concacaf games. Canada had a game against the United States. Rumor has it Alphonso Davies wasn't as fit as he should have been. Rumor has it that Alphonso Davies had told the medical team and the organization, Canada Soccer, that he can't start, and they had promised him that he will just play a few minutes in the game. These are some of the words from Alphonso Davies' agent. He came out and he started questioning Jesse Marsch, who's the Canada national team head coach, and who's right here. Obviously, Bayern wasn't happy. Bayern Munich came out and said that they're going to take legal actions because this whole thing wasn't handled properly. Alphonso Davies wasn't ready to play, or he wasn't fit enough to play or to start, and this is a problem. Again, players healthy should come first. It doesn't matter what game it is. It doesn't matter if it's a World Cup final. It doesn't matter. I understand you need to, sometimes sacrifice yourself for the bigger image, bigger picture, bigger organization. In this case, Alphonso Davies wants to represent, as the captain of the team, he wants to represent the whole nation against their biggest rivals, United States. With all the political stuff happening right now, I understand all this stuff, but if he plays and he's not fit to play, and if he gets injured, you don't have Alphonso Davies for a long period of time, and the player is at risk, which is exactly what happened. He tore his ACL. He's going to be out for the rest of the season. A player that fast and that explosive, who knows if he's going to be the same Alphonso Davies again once he comes back from injury. I mean, he's still very young, and you would expect him to bounce back from this injury with the proper recovery and rehab. But you never know, and this is unfortunate that he got injured. He tore his ACL, one of the many players tearing his ACL this season. Once again, who's responsible for this? Is it Canada Soccer? Is it the head coach? Is it the medical staff and doctors? Jesse Marsch apparently was the one insisting that he should be playing. I wasn't happy with Jesse Marsch's behavior in this tournament, especially against the US when I came out and said he's acting like a clown on the sideline, and I genuinely believe that, because like, you got to be composed, you got to control your emotions. It's not about, I'm not saying don't care or don't show your emotions and, don't try to motivate your team and your players. But first of all, these are professional players. Like, your captain's playing for Bayern Munich. You have big players that are playing in Europe, so they're professionals. You don't need to jump up and down consistently for them to be motivated. If that's what it takes for them to be motivated to play against the United States in the Concacaf, then there's a bigger issue. It shouldn't take that for them to be motivated to compete against the United States. And then I understand there was some not great calls going for them in the previous game against Mexico, but that penalty that he was complaining about on Jonathan David, I think it was against the US, that was not a penalty. I don't know why he was complaining. He was going at the referee. Referee made the perfect call. VAR didn't even question the call. So there was no reason for him to behave like that. And I think he was sent off, rightly so. The ref made a great decision again. And I think it's a learning moment. And he needs to understand that as the head coach of a national team, you need to control yourself better. Your players are looking up to you, and you got to do better than that. You can't act like that. You need to make better decisions on the field and also off the field with Alphonso Davies' injury, if he is one of the main people that's responsible for this decision that Alphonso Davies had to start, and therefore he got injured and he's out for the rest of the season. So all this to say that players are voicing their concerns, managers are voicing their concerns, clubs are voicing their concerns with associations not helping them with the schedules they're setting, and there's a lot of competitions at the moment. This summer there's the Club World Cup, then we go back, seasons begin. As soon as the seasons end, we go to the World Cup. So there's a lot of, players don't get a break, especially if they're playing for big clubs, for big countries, and they're expected to also deliver and perform and win titles. So it's going to be interesting to see who interferes with this or who addresses it, but something has to be done. That's what's clear for sure. Now, a few things I want to talk about. Obviously, I'm a Real Madrid fan, and every episode of Let's Talk Footy is going to consist of Real Madrid topics and issues, opinions, comments, whatever. I'm a fan. I'm a Real Madrid fan. I've been a Real Madrid fan ever since I remember, ever since I got introduced to the game of football. So yeah, I'm going to talk about it. They just played Leganes in the league. And see, this is the other thing. In that game, Carlo Ancelotti, even though it was a must-win game because Barcelona is not dropping any points, they're doing pretty well, and they have the lead. They're 3 points ahead in the league. And now they have the same number of games, obviously. But Real Madrid has to win every single game in the remaining few months if they have a chance of winning the league. So even though it's a must-win game, it's at home, it's right after the international break. So, you don't know if the rhythm is going to be the same because there was a pause. Vinicius Jr. and Rodrigo and Valverde, these three important, definite starters for the team, did not start the game. And why? Because they just played in South America. The traveling was hard on them. They played full games with their teams, or almost full games with the national teams. And Carlo Ancelotti, even though it was a must-win game for Real Madrid, decided to rest them. Now, when I looked at the lineup before the game, I was a bit concerned because, Arda Güler hasn't really been, getting a lot of minutes, and he hasn't been playing a lot, and he hasn't, it's tough to rely on him. Brahim Diaz is a different story. Every time he gets his chances, he takes them, and he's been doing okay. So nothing on that side of the field, but just not having Rodrigo and Vinicius and Valverde in the middle, and then having Lucas Vázquez in the right back position. Lucas Vázquez as the right back is just crazy. I mean, it looks like Trent is going to be coming to Real Madrid next season. And hopefully, he's not the best defender also. He has a lot of great qualities, obviously. And he's going to be a great signing for Real Madrid if that does happen. Let's just pause for 1 second. Lucas Vázquez, this is what happened with Lucas Vázquez. Lucas Vázquez was a right winger. He was never a first choice, because there was always like players like Gareth Bale, Di Maria, I don't know, Ronaldo. Anyways, he was never that first choice as a right winger. So what happened was he was a backup, but he wasn't even a second choice at times. Like players like Marco Asensio used to play on the right, cut in and whatever, and start ahead of him. So he wasn't even a second choice, but he has other qualities. Obviously, he's a Spanish player. He has great attitude and work ethic. He's right now, at least, he's a player that younger players are looking up to. So he brings that maturity, he brings that discipline, and on the field, he's a good player in the sense that he tries to do what the coach or the coaches ask him to do. He's disciplined, he's organized, he works his butt off. So in that sense, he's amazing. But he was never a tremendous right wing. He wasn't the first option, obviously. He wasn't even the second option at times. And then therefore he kind of became a right defender. And as a right defender, as a right back, what are the qualities of a good right back playing for Real Madrid, the best club in the world? You need to be obviously great at 1v1 defending. You need to be fast, because if you're expected to join the attack, you need to get back. So you need to be fast. You need to be strong now. The game is physical. The modern game is physical. And you need to be strong against strong, fast, explosive wingers. And Lucas Vázquez is neither of those. Obviously, he's not great at 1v1 defending. He is not the fastest player. He's not the strongest player. All he has going for him is he tries to do his best regarding what the coaches ask him to do. And that's fine, and that's fine maybe against average or lower teams, but against top teams in the league, against top teams in the European competition, Champions League or Club World Cup eventually in this summer, that's going to be a problem. And that's why Valverde has become the first choice right back, now that Dani Carvajal is injured. So Valverde is not a right back. He's not a defender. He's a central midfielder. So why is Valverde better than Lucas Vázquez? Because he's fast, because he's strong, because he's better defensively in 1v1 situations. And if he gets beat, he is fast to get back and recover. So that's why he's starting ahead and he's performing better as a right back than compared to Lucas Vázquez. So anyways, all this, so I've vented about this, I've talked about this many times, and hopefully next season this problem is solved, because that is one of the main reasons why Real Madrid has not been consistent and good defensively. Literally, that right back position, I can go back and come up with 15, 20, 25 situations or goals Real Madrid has conceded from that right side, because Lucas Vázquez is just not a proper right back. And it's not really his fault. Like, I don't want to again go at Lucas Vázquez. I love him because he's disciplined. He's what Real Madrid is all about. He has pride. Again, he has great attitude, great player. Poor guy is just not a right back, and he's been forced to make up for the injuries that Real Madrid has had this season. So all this to say that when I saw the lineup before the Real Madrid game versus Leganes, I don't even know if that's how you say it. Leganes. Anyways, sorry, my Spanish is not good, clearly. But I was nervous. Lucas Vázquez was the right back. We had in the Courtois has a little knock, so he's not playing, and he's not going to play tomorrow in the second leg of the Cup, Copa del Rey against Real Sociedad. So Lunin was in net. I mean, Lunin has kind of proved himself. He is, he's done okay, and Courtois last year was for the majority of the season, and Lunin did well. Yeah, Lunin is not the first choice, but whatever. Lunin in net, Lucas Vázquez as the right back. That's already a concern. And then in the middle, we had Rudiger starting with Raúl Asensio. Again, Raúl Asensio is a young player that just has come out of nowhere, and he's done well. He's taking his chances, and he looks like he has serious potential. And those two, Rudiger and Raúl Asensio, have already been playing together for a while this season, and they've been doing okay. Again, ideally, like that's not the pair you would want to see. You would want to see Militao with Rudiger, Alaba with Rudiger, but obviously those two are injured and there's not enough options there. And then left back, Mendy is injured. So Fran Garcia was the left back. So when you look at that Real Madrid back line and the goalkeeper, apart from Rudiger, none of those players are first choices. And this is a must-win game for Real Madrid at home after the international break. And then in the midfield, no Valverde because he's being rested. On the flanks, no Vinicius, no Rodrigo. So we have Arda Güler and we have Brahim Diaz. So thank God Mbappe was able to play and he scored 2 beautiful goals and Real Madrid ended up winning 3-2. But defensively, they conceded 2 very cheap goals. Both of them kind of were from the left side of Real Madrid. Brahim Diaz was responsible for one of them. But again, this goes back to fullbacks and the wingers not being solid defensively. Valverde not being in the midfield. His presence, defensive discipline, physical presence adds a lot defensively, especially in transitions, and that wasn't the case against Leganes, and Real Madrid was very vulnerable in the transitions, and that's how they conceded the 2 goals. And then when Valverde was brought into the game, he went and covered for Lucas Vázquez, who wasn't happy to come off. But clearly Ancelotti and his coaching staff know that he's a weakness there. Opponents know he's a weakness there. And Valverde is going to have to play in that position for majority of the remaining games for sure. And then that means you lose Valverde in the midfield. He's such a great player. I love Valverde. Honestly, I think at the moment and for the next few seasons with all the fancy players, with the Mbappes and Vinicius and Rodrigo and Bellingham, Valverde is my favorite player. He's so strong and fast. He is technically good. His shots are world class. Like, this guy's shooting from long distance is just next level. Anyways, everybody knows this. But what's really fascinating to me and what I love about Federico Valverde is his attitude, his mentality. He doesn't talk trash. He doesn't complain. He just puts his head down and he does what he has to do. And the team always comes first. And he does it at the highest level, whether that's defending, whether that's recovering, whether that's putting a slight tackle in, whether that's shooting, whether that's his passing. His passing has improved tremendously. A few times this season, I'm thinking that's a pass Toni Kroos would make. So clearly, from Toni Kroos' time at Real Madrid, Valverde has learned a few things. And he's been mentored because his passing is improving and it's looking good at times. So he's just a joy to watch. Real Madrid is very lucky to have him, and he's going to become one of the legends of Real Madrid. There's no chance he's going to any club. He's going to retire at that club. He's going to become one of the main captains. He is one of the captains when, Modric, Lucas Vázquez, Dani Carvajal aren't around. I think he's the 4th captain, but just a joy to watch. I love him, and he's going to have to do the dirty work. He's going to have to cover, and he's going to have to make up for all the injuries Real Madrid has. And he's been doing that all season, and hopefully he's going to be able to continue to do that. That's another player that needs to be rested so he can recover, because the amount of minutes he's putting on his body, teams are putting on him. Real Madrid, Uruguay. I feel like I'm going to jinx it. Fingers crossed that Valverde does not get injured. And obviously as a Real Madrid fan, I don't want this to happen. And just because I love him, I don't want this to happen to him. But I think any football fan, even Barcelona fans love this guy. I hope. And no football fan would want to see Valverde injured. No football fan wants to see any player injured, hopefully. But Valverde he's a gem. And with the amount of games he's playing and minutes he's putting on the field, let's hope nothing happens to him. And football deserves a player like Valverde, and Valverde deserves to be healthy and playing and killing it. Anyways, that's it for today's episode. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give the video a thumbs up. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done so, and I will see you next time. Take care.